All right, let's just jump right in. I want you to think about a product. It's generated more profit than anything else in human history. But here's the catch. It has no physical form, it's totally invisible. And yet it has funded wars, it's built entire empires, and it shapes every single day of our lives.
I mean, really let that sink in for a second. A product you can't see, you can't touch, but it holds this incredible power over the entire global economy. The craziest part? Most of us are constantly buying it without even realizing what we're doing. So what on earth is it?
Yep, that's it. The most profitable product ever created is the simple IOU. And here's the thing. Once you stop seeing debt as just a financial tool and you start seeing it as a deliberately engineered product, the whole world starts to look, well, very, very different.
To really get a handle on its power, you have to see it for what it truly is. It's the invisible scaffolding that's holding up our entire world. It's the hidden architecture behind everything, from global markets right down to what's in your wallet.
And this architecture, it's just everywhere. You see, debt isn't just a transaction. It's a whole system. It's a system that funds governments and armies, but it also quietly, constantly transfers wealth. And here's the most important point to grasp. If you don't understand how this system works, you're not the customer, you're the collateral.
So, how in the world did we get here? How did a simple promise, I'll pay you back, become the very foundation of global power? To get that, we need to take a quick look at how this product was developed over time. I mean, at its heart, debt is just a promise, right? A promise between two people. But over centuries, that very simple promise was transformed. You could even say it was weaponized.
This timeline just lays it out so clearly. Way back in ancient Mesopotamia, rulers actually knew that permanent debt was a huge danger, so they had these debt jubilees to just wipe the slate clean. But fast forward to the Renaissance, and you have powerful families like the Medici. They realized debt was a tool for control. They'd lend to kings and get massive political power in return. Then the whole game changed in 1694 with the Bank of England. For the very first time, an entire country was designed to live on debt, not just use it for an emergency. And that created a permanent, endless cycle of borrowing.
And that brings us right to today's system. It operates less like a one-time loan and way more like a permanent subscription model. Like a subscription that you can never, ever cancel. Now, the engine that powers this subscription is interest, and this is the hidden genius of the product. It's not just some fee, it's a mechanism that literally converts the passage of time itself, into pure profit for the lender.
And the sheer scale of this system, it's almost impossible to wrap your head around. Just look at the US national debt. But here's the secret, the part they don't really want you to think about. A number this big is never, ever meant to be paid back. It's actually designed to be permanent.
So you're probably wondering, how does a system with this much debt not just completely collapse? Well, the crucial insight is that it isn't built on repayment at all. It's built on confidence. See, old debt is simply paid off with new debt. It's that rolling subscription idea. All the big nations hold each other's IOUs in what the source material calls a circular mirror. And this crazy web of mutual debt, well, it becomes the most trusted asset in the entire world. It's the very foundation for our pensions and bank reserves.
And that leads to this absolutely staggering conclusion. If the US were to somehow actually pay off its debt, the global money supply would shrink so fast it would trigger a complete and total collapse. In our system, debt isn't just something we owe. For all intents and purposes, debt is money.
Okay, so how does this giant, abstract system actually affect our real lives? Well, it becomes a tool for discipline, and it shapes our behavior on both a personal level and a national one.
This slide really shows the two sides of that coin perfectly. For us, for households, the mortgage has been brilliantly marketed, hasn't it? It turned debt from something shameful into a middle-class aspiration, the American dream. But for nations, organizations like the IMF use debt as a lever. They'll give out bailout loans, but they come with strings attached, conditions that let them control a country's economic policies from thousands of miles away.
And here's the bottom line. It doesn't matter if it's a person or an entire country, the architecture works the exact same way. The profits from interest, they all flow up to the creditors. But the risks, the losses, those get spread out across the debtors, which, let's be honest, is pretty much everyone else.
So, if we're all living inside this massive, permanent architecture of debt, what are we supposed to do about it? The source material offers a kind of blueprint, not for escaping the system, because that's not really an option, but for building resilience within it. I mean, this is the key question, isn't it? It feels completely overwhelming, but just understanding the rules of the game, that's the first step to figuring out how to play it effectively.
Okay, here are 3 key actions to think about. First, just recognize what's happening. Every interest payment you make is part of a massive upward transfer of wealth. Second, prioritize what's called productive resilience. What that means is, when a crisis hits, paper money can lose its value, but the ability to actually make something or provide a critical skill, that never does. And finally, do what you can to minimize your dependence on the system. Question every offer of easy credit and always remember the profit machine that's working behind it.
Because at the end of the day, this whole global scaffolding is held together by just one thing: trust. It's basically a belief system. And history has shown us, from ancient Rome all the way to modern financial crises, that when that invisible glue of trust dissolves, the entire structure can come crashing down.
So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. The financial path most of us are on, student loans, mortgages, credit cards, it all feels so normal, right? Even responsible. But it's worth asking yourself, is this a map that you designed for your own prosperity, or is it a map that was designed by your creditors?